Hello, I'm Denton. Today, let's talk about why aren't Chinese people good at public speaking? When this is mentioned, some people jump to criticizing supposed national flaws or even blame government oppression. But that's completely missing the point. The real reason Chinese people aren't great at speeches is actually pretty simple. Chinese is an extremely information-dense language. In fact, Chinese packs more meaning into fewer syllables than almost any other language. You can really see this in song lyrics because the melody sets a fixed rhythm is easy to compare. A few short lines in Chinese often become much longer in English and even longer in Japanese with all its extra particles. When translating Chinese lyrics into English or Japanese, you often have to add filler words, stuff that's basically fluff. English words usually have more syllables than Chinese ones. For example, 衣服 it means clothes and it's two syllables, while in English it's three or four syllables. 演讲 it means speech. In Chinese, it's two syllables, while in English it's three syllables. So, in Chinese, even complex ideas can often be expressed in two or three characters. That's just two or three syllables. If we use a four-character phrase, that's usually a 成语, means idiom, which is like activating a whole other module of meaning linking to a deeper story or concept. So we get expressions like 含沙射影 means to attack by innuendo, or 妄自菲薄 it means to undervalue oneself. You get the idea? The information density is pretty striking. Then take Japanese. It's full of mood particles and nuances. Like 不得不 in Japanese becomes nakaraba naranai, which carries this feeling of I want it to be that way, but it's not happening like that. See that subtle emotional twist? And that's not even the polite form. Honorifics would make it even longer. So yes, Chinese is very information dense. And that means in the same amount of time, you're trying to express way more content. That makes it harder for Chinese speakers when giving a speech. Now, I'm not saying anyone's brain works faster or slower. Let's assume we all think at roughly the same speed. But because English and similar languages use more syllables and longer phrasing, your speech pace naturally matches your thought flow. That makes the speaker sound smooth, connected, and confident, like a good public speaker. In contrast, when speaking Chinese, you might express a whole idea in one short sentence, and then your brain needs a moment to catch up with the next thought. So you pause. You say, well, you know, and it sounds fragmented. That's why people might think Chinese people aren't good at speeches. Another angle, English speaking often focuses on emotion, persuasion, and rhythm. Precise wording isn't always the priority. The Chinese speaking tends to emphasize clear enunciation and tonal variation. Why? Because varying your tone and pacing stretches out the syllables and buys you time. And clear pronunciation helps each word, each meaning land distinctly. This doesn't just help the speaker breathe, it also helps the listener follow along. High information density isn't just tiring for the speaker, it's demanding for the listener too. That's also why taking notes quickly in Chinese is especially challenging. Languages with more filler syllables often use them to convey feeling or atmosphere, not just literal meaning. But those fillers help create flow, rhythm, and the illusion of speed and fluency, making the speaker seem more dynamic and emotionally engaging. So, in that sense, English is naturally suited to modern public speaking. But that doesn't mean Westerners are more involved or free, or that Chinese people are oppressed or less capable. It's just how the languages evolved differently. In ancient China, for a country so vast, written messages were far more practical than speeches. In Athens, you could gather citizens in a square. It's just one city. But could you address the whole nation from the Forbidden City? Better to write it down and send it by courier. And since ancient materials like bamboo sleeves were scarce, concise language was valued. That shaped Chinese toward precision and density. If anything, ancient Chinese officials probably gave even worse speeches because classical Chinese is even more condensed than modern Chinese. So, in short, Chinese focuses on conveying meaning efficiently. English often focuses on mood and emotional delivery. One isn't better than the other, they just grew in different directions. And honestly, the precision of Chinese encourages deep engagement with meaning and nuancing. Over time, that cultivates a more strategic, refined way of thinking. So, yeah, maybe we are not the flashiest speakers, but there's a whole depth behind the words we choose.